Hi, I'm Toni Preckwinkle, Chair of the Cook County Democratic Party. I want to welcome you to the 80, our podcast about the Cook County Democratic Party, its leaders, and its candidates. We're beginning the podcast by interviewing our elected Democratic committee people to discuss their backgrounds and thoughts about the history and future of our party. Today, I'm excited to welcome Alderman and committee person Walter Burnett of the 27th Ward. Welcome, Walter.
How you doing, Madam President? Thank you for having me.
All right. So let's begin by telling people where the 27th Ward is, and then a little bit about your story.
Fantastic. So 27th Ward is, it goes from roughly Clark Street, believe it or not, to almost Pulaski, roughly North Avenue to Roosevelt. It gerrymanders in and out. So I have a part of Old Town, Greek Town, the Old Cabrini Green area, the West Loop near West, Eckhart Park, West Humboldt Park, the Medical District, Goose Island. And so it's a very diverse ward economically and ethnically.
All right. Probably one of the most diverse wards in the city.
Mm-hmm. So, and how I started, Madam President, is unique. Grew up in Cabrini Green. My dad was a precinct captain for George Dunn. Him and my mom had separated. So his precinct was where we lived. And so I used to be excited to go knock on doors with him when I was young. I was like 8, 9, or 10. And I used to go knock on doors with him, go to my friends' houses and eat their cookies and go upstairs and play with them when my dad is talking to their parents, trying to get them to vote. But I used to think it was so magical to see him take their complaints and then come back and give them a solution. You know, I thought it was like magic. My dad was like the man, right? You know, and plus I was just excited to be with him. When I became a teenager, he used to ask me to help him. And he used to give me a couple of dollars, me and my sisters, and I'd go help him. And he'd give me a couple of dollars to help. So I started doing what he did, right? And got to know the system and everything. Later on in life, couldn't find a job. And my dad took me to George Dunn, and George Dunn saw me one day, and the next day I was working, right? As a draftsman for the highway department. Funny thing is, back in, so I just started volunteering. I became a draftsman, and they knew I was a draftsman. So the organization asked me, they say, Harold Washington is coming to our ward headquarters. This was in the 80s when Harold was going on his second race. And they said, we want to put up signs all over the ward office, and we want to, you know, give him a big showing when he come. And they asked me to draw up signs, you know, vote for Harold Washington. Back then they used to have those punch 10. Remember we used to do punch 10s?
Right.
Yeah.
Straight ticket voting.
Yeah. So I used to draw I had to draw all of the signs, posters to put up in the meeting, and they got excited about it. They liked that, and we all cheered, and we supported Harold, and which was great. So you can say Harold's second campaign was the first time I worked on a campaign. So me knowing how to do politics and working with my dad, I just got involved, and I started seeing, you know, that the older guys was doing it the old way, and I, you know, when you get out of college, you think you know everything. So I figured I can do everything better. So I would get me a pamphlet and go talk to people. They say they need something. I call the departments, use George Dunn's name, and it was done. The magic, like my dad used to do, was done. And I was excited about it. But then they had came out with, remember they came out with deputy registers? Because we used to have to register people to vote at the polling places.
Right.
When they came out with deputy registers, I was like, man, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. I don't have to go around knocking on folks' doors trying to beg them to come to the polling place. So I became a deputy register. So Mr. Dunn saw I was a deputy register, and I was one of the few deputy registers in the organization. And he started asking me to go all around the ward. Whenever they have festivals and events, I had to go register people to vote. He'd send me to folks on the Gold Coast homes to register them to vote. And, you know, so they, you know, it's like the more they see you doing, the more they have you to do.
Right.
So then I just started volunteering a lot every day. They kept calling me down to draw and stuff. And I was like, man, these guys keep calling me down to people, you know, in my office talking about me and stuff. I said, I know what I'm gonna do. Instead of them keep calling me, I'm gonna go down there every day and ask them, is there something you want me to do? so they can leave me alone, right? I tried to flip the script on it. It didn't work. Every day when I went down there, they had something for me to do. And lo and behold, I became part of the fabric of the office. And when Mr. Dunn, when Podolak left and Mr. Dunn became chairman of the Democratic Party, I asked him, I said, Mr. Dunn, I want to help you as chairman of the Democratic Party. And so I started helping the Democratic Party. So when he was chairman like you, I was the guy who got the water, moved the chairs, pass out the literature, you know, all of those things, set things up. And matter of fact, back in those days, we used to have to call the committeemen up so they could come get their money for election days. So I used to have to call the committeemen up to get their money, all that stuff, look at the numbers. And so, you know, so pretty soon folks started seeing me being with Mr. Dunn. So candidates, when they come in, they come and ask me, what should I do when I talk to all of the committeemen and everything? And
they consulted you.
They started consulting me because they would see me every day. I was a young kid. But here we are. So that's how I got started, and that's my story. But so I love democratic politics. I love encouraging young people to stay involved. Matter of fact, I even have a high school Young Democrats in my organization. So
you started out with your dad, walking precincts, knocking doors.
Right.
And not only did you have his mentorship, but George Dunn, who of course not only was a committee person, but chair of the party. And then Jesse White, state rep, and then recorder of deeds. And now, of course, for many, many years, Secretary of State in Illinois.
Right. So we've been blessed. You know, we've been blessed by I always say, especially for a lot of us who got involved in politics in Cabrini Green, you know, a lot of us are grown, our kids been to colleges, you know, we got houses. If it wasn't for politics, a lot of people from communities like that probably wouldn't even get in government, you know, and it gave a lot of people an opportunity to get in government and to be able to show people that they can do stuff. And so so I say democratic politics, the thing about being a Democrat and what I think about democratic politics is that it does not discriminate. No matter where you come from. You can come from the projects, you can be gay, you can be black, you can be white, you can be poor, you can be rich. The Democratic Party takes in everyone, right? And it gives everyone an opportunity and it gives everyone a voice. We have so many caucuses, it's incredible. I mean, you know, I mean, and being in the Young Democrats, we had the opportunity to experience it on every level, from the county level to the state level to the national level. Matter of fact, when we were Young Democrats, when Clinton was in, they would call our Young Democrat organizations to go to different states and help congressmen win. So, because I made the organization like the regular organization, and we really had it going. David Wilhelm and them would call us, and PG and Greco, and we would, you know, take guys all over the country and help people win. And, you know, at that time, Chicago had a reputation, and we was doing our thing, man. It was so exciting. But, you know, that's nostalgia of the old days, right? So well, we now do that here, you know, here in the ward for candidates from everyone from alderman to all the way to president of the United States. And we're always excited about it. So,
well, it's fascinating to hear the story about how you got involved. Help us out. What do you see as an agenda for the Cook County Democratic Party, and what do you hope for from our Democratic president?
So I think, you know, the agenda for the Democratic Party, we need to stay focused on being open and helping people like we always have been. We need not to allow for our philosophies to turn conservative, right? And exclude people like the Republican Party does. And sometimes because of polls, folks tend to feel that way. And but we have to stand firm on what we believe in. And folks like you have done that, Madam Chairman, with your belief on criminal justice and things such as that, regardless of how it may look as far as popularity goes. It's just the right thing to do. And I think we need to continue to do that. I think that's why people are attracted to the Democratic Party because we stand up for people, right? Not policies, but for people. And we do the right thing. So I think we need to continue to do that. I think we need to continue to attract young people. A lot of my guys I started with, they retiring. They need, every time you call them up, something wrong. We all discussing what kind of medicine and all that kind of stuff. Right. So, you got to have some young legs, you got to have young legs and we gotta have a bench. We have to have a bench in the Democratic Party. We gotta be able to expose these young people so we can see where our talent is. And we have to let everyone in of all nationalities, all, walks of life in so we can see where they are because our society is changing, at a blink of an eye. Everything is changing and how people think about politics is changing too. So, and then these young people, they're so advanced in the social media stuff. It's like every day I'm learning, Madam Chairman. I'm learning every day because there's always something new coming my way that we have to learn to keep up with everything. So we need to stay focused on that. I think the National Democratic Party, I think they're on the right track. I think that they're doing all the right things. All of the things that Biden is doing right now with the stimulus is important. Him trying to position us internationally and making sure the United States help to not defend, but help to support our allies across the country. I think all of those things are great, and I think he's on the right track. So I think the nation is in good hands right now.
Well, thank you. That's encouraging. I'm particularly interested in your focus on young people, building up the young Democrats and having not just college kids involved and those who are just out of college and into their 30s, but high schoolers. How do you connect with the high school kids?
I tell you, for me, I've been blessed to have parents bring their kids to me. Like, hey, can my kid hang around you? Right. So I've had a couple of kids in my organization. Their parents brought them to me and I let them volunteer in the office and, I let them do things. And then when I do internships in the summertime, and every time I expose it, I guess I'm the biggest seller of the Young Democrats. Every time I get an opportunity to introduce young people to the organization, I do. Because, for me, Madam President, I always talk about how growing up in Cabrini Green, coming from where I come from, I made a mistake, been in trouble, but I got exposed to all of these people from across the county who parents were either elected officials or their parents ran some company or they worked for government. And I got exposed to all these people, and I was just a kid from Cabrini Green. And I immediately just was able to walk into an organization and get connected to all these people. So any department I went to in the city, I can just go to, and there was a young Democrat there, Yeah. And when I was trying to help people in my precinct, it was so easy, and then when I started getting involved nationally, I have friends that's elected officials all over the country. And so I try to encourage young people to get into that network because it's one of the best networks one of the best networks in the world where you don't even have to have a resume. You can just get involved, meet people. All you have to do is have a willingness to work and support folks, and so I try to sell it all the time to young people. Some of the young Democrats, I remember some of the young Democrats, we've been involved with, they own big computer companies now, and they own all kind of companies that, they do business with government, right? And it came from being involved with government and knowing, where those things are because you was exposed to it. So.
Well, thank you. I really want to let you know that I appreciate your sharing with us your personal story of your involvement in politics and in particular how you've engaged young people, because that's surely a challenge for not just the party here in Cook County, but nationally. How are we going to engage young people and have the sort of next generation of Democratic leaders? Anything you want to share with us that we didn't touch on?
Well, I think also, one of the things that the party does, like I say, the party is always open to any and everyone. The party allows for older people to stay engaged and get involved and volunteer and be active, right? But they all also allow for people who've been in trouble before, people who've made mistakes and want to get their life on the right track. I mean, if it wasn't for, first day I went to George Dunn, my dad took me to him and he said, "You been in trouble?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "You go down there, you tell the truth," right? And he didn't discriminate against me. He just say, "You go down there, you tell the truth," and I did. And that's why we try to give ex-offenders an opportunity to get involved and give back to society and help out. And it opens up a lot of doors for them to advance themselves in life. So this Democratic Party, I mean, it's the greatest thing in the world. I just love it. If it wasn't for the Democratic Party, I don't know where I would be. I tell you, I don't know where Walter Burnett would be today if it wasn't for the Cook County Democratic Party.
All right. Well, listen, that's a good note on which to end. We're very grateful that you were willing to take time with us today. And I just want to express my appreciation. Many of our viewers and listeners may not know, but Walter and I served together in the city council. And what I remember most is your fierce advocacy for affordable housing and the many battles that we were in together as a result of that. And I just want to thank you to your commitment to ordinary working folks and their need for shelter, affordable shelter. And I know that's something you've dedicated your aldermanic career to. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your support. You dedicated your life to that too, but also helping a lot of folks who couldn't get help ordinarily. So appreciate everything that you're doing. Your office didn't have to turn to a criminal justice perspective, but you did because you saw that folks were getting treated wrong. So appreciate you being fair with people.
Thank you. Thank you very much for joining.